Welcome to the 1 Minute Preceptor Podcast, your resource for clinical rotation advice and tips to prepare for your externships in healthcare. Learn how to earn letters of recommendation, prepare for your clerkship, and excel at patient care from preceptors with years of practice. We interview physician educators in every specialty and clinical setting to discuss how to prepare for your rotation and improve your clinical experience. Here's your host and med-ed entrepreneur, Chase DeMarco.
Welcome to the 1 Minute Preceptor Podcast, the only podcast that brings you a constant stream of interviews from medical educators and preceptors to help guide you on your healthcare path. I'm Chase DeMarco, and I will be your host through Season 1 of the 1 Minute Preceptor Podcast. I also host the Medical Nemesis podcast, co-host the Inside the Boards podcast, and I co-author the book Read This Before Medical School, How to Study Smarter and Live Better while excelling in class and on your USMLE and COMLEX Board Exams. I'm an MD PhD candidate with an MBA in healthcare management and a passion for educational resources, in case you couldn't tell. Mentoring for both students and physicians has been increasing in popularity, but the resources for clinical educators are less prevalent. In this show, we'll try to cover tips to improve student educational and clinical experiences, while also affording some examples and training exercises for physicians and preceptors. It is meant to help bridge the gap between our academic education environments and the clinical learning environment. We also aim to bridge the gap between students and preceptors to really maximize the utility of each clinical rotation. Are you a medical professional or healthcare student? If so, you know that clinical rotations make up a significant aspect of our learning experience. Despite this, there's never really been a clear and open way for physicians to express their expectations, experiences, and goals, or to note the differences between their educational setting compared with those of their peers. Here, we'll have the opportunity to shed some light on medical externships and answer questions you probably never even thought to ask. The name of this podcast was derived from the 1 Minute Preceptor teaching model, which consists of 5 parts. These are to 1. Get a commitment from the student, such as answers to questions or diagnosis to a patient presentation. 2. Providing supporting evidence, such as requesting information on why the student came to this conclusion. 3 is giving positive reinforcement or rewarding the student for their efforts and correct diagnosis. 4 is correcting mistakes or errors of omission. And then 5 is teaching the general rule, such as offering clinical pearls to the student. Though this 5-step process might seem pretty straightforward, medicine is a vast and ever-changing landscape. The same methods might not work in teaching a medical student and a nursing student. Or they might work differently in a fast-paced metropolitan hospital compared to a slower or smaller rural clinic. The emergency department might afford much different learning opportunities than the operating room, and vice versa. Throughout this first season, we'll interview a wide range of clinical preceptors to get their personal take on teaching methods within their specialty and setting, as well as what a student should expect while rotating in that setting. We'll explore what some of the pros and cons are to different clinical settings when it comes to education, and what these preceptors do to maximize the transfer of their knowledge to the students. We have a lot of great interviews coming up and should start releasing them soon in the next couple of weeks, so please hit that subscribe button right now so you do not miss a single episode. Believe me, they are all very interesting, unique, and can really help a student prepare for every type of clinical scenario. So I really hope you'll enjoy Season 1 of the 1 Minute Preceptor Podcast.